Well, good morning, welcome. Quite a brisk summer morning, and we're back with our 1988 Talbot Express motorhome. And like the motorhome itself, we're going to take a wee bit of a trip back in time today. So let's go inside. Now, I do like to try and keep things as original as possible. And in this motorhome, we still have the original Vaillant water heater, and that's what we're going to take a little look at. Trip back in time. Now, whenever we acquired the motorhome, needless to say, the water heater wasn't working, and it was in a very poor state of repair. And just the first thing to note is manufactured a new cover for the water heater from aluminium, obviously complete with inspection aperture. But bear in mind they are old technology, old open flue systems, made that in such a way then that it was recreating the original design. And as the air comes into aid combustion, heats it, and then creates a flue up onto the original flue in the motorhome. But again, let's get the cover off and we'll show you what we did. So as I said there initially, the original flue absolutely fine, all clear, all well secured and all sealed around the roof. And when you put the cover on and the air heats inside the combustion chamber at the bottom of the heat exchanger, then the air rises through the flue. So I'd say old technology, but providing obviously you keep the motorhome well ventilated, and really what we do is only switch it on when we need it, and then we're sort of perfectly safe and secure. Now, you'll see there that the tag for the original MAG 125 Variant 7 Vaillant heater, and I suppose there are two sides to this story. We've got the water side and the gas side. Now, on the water side, whenever I acquired this particular machine, the motorhome that is, the heat exchanger had a rip along the top, and what we did there simply was bypass it by inserting a piece of copper pipe, bit of copper soldering, and it was only one tiny part of the heat exchanger was actually damaged, but the little piece of pipe solved the problem, took that particular water leak away. The other water leak was coming from here, one of the heat exchanger feed pipes, and split along the back. Obviously at some point somebody had left it over winter without draining it. It had split the pipe. So again, off, and a little bit of copper solder down the back. Quite a small hole, but solved the problem. Now, you'll also note in passing there, the original spring clips that held the water heater onto the backboard were long since banjaxed and fabricated in an aluminium brace, which is fixed to the backboard and again holds the whole unit securely in place. You'll combine with the water pipe connections at the bottom. Now, the brains of the operation lie here, and where the gas and the water pass through master cylinder, as it were, and hopefully never the twain shall meet. Again, of course, on something this old, there were a number of little issues to resolve in the master valve. Now, the valve is in two halves. Water flows through the bottom half and the gas flows through the top half. They are divided by a diaphragm, which is this. Now, this was the old one, which was replaced because it was dozed and we were getting water leak coming out of the join that's the seated between the two halves, and it transpired the main reason for that was because at some point in the past somebody had split the top half of the housing, and consequently it wouldn't secure firmly. So how to do that? The water comes into the the water half of the valve via the main water feed. Again, make sure the tank's empty, pop that off. And then there are two connections into the heat exchanger, on the left and one in there on the right. Again, so what you can do simply is undo the water connections, and then you can drop the entire valve away from the rest of the heater unit just by undoing the pinch bolts on the gas valve side of the unit. So that was off, diaphragm replaced, and housing put back on. And then the only other actual repair that was done to the boiler was we put in a new thermocoupler. Again, the old one was a bit ropey, seemed to be a little bit iffy on opening the gas valve, so replaced it was. And then moving on to how the unit performs and works. A gas water heater such as this, inherently safe. There are a number of balances and checks that have to be correct before the unit will even think about firing up. First of all, there has to be water pressure, because when the water floods the lower part of the valve, then the diaphragm expands and pushes a gas valve open. There's a little pin rises inside there, and that pin actually rises at the point where your water starts to flow, hence opening up the gas route to come up to the burner. So with no water pressure, you will not get any gas at the burner head. And then obviously there has to be gas present. And again, so gas on, and your controls have three settings essentially. So off is off, and then if we turn around to the first click, nothing happens. You'll see the firing symbol here, and you'll also see that the striker has opened ready to create a spark in order to ignite your pilot light. So in order to do that, the most successful way I've always found is if you go halfway between the striker setting and the actual strike, and just hold it for a moment in order to get a little bit of gas flowing, turn and hold. So we have manually opened the pilot light feed on the gas valve. And what we need to do now is to keep the pilot light lit for a few moments in order to provide sufficient heat at the top of the thermocoupler. And then by the magic of physics, the two metals in there will send an electronic signal or an electric signal down into the gas valve contained within that housing. So once we get a little bit of heat into the thermocoupler, what that's doing is it's telling the system that it's safe to continue a gas supply to the pilot light because there is heat being generated. Again, one of the safety features, if the pilot light goes out and there is no heat, then the gas supply will automatically lock off, and I'll demonstrate that whenever I go to switch the unit off, because you'll actually hear the safety valve clicking shut. And once we have that done, we then turn our control back to the water symbol. Water symbol up and running, you're going to get water. It's the only position in which the unit will deliver the combination of things required to get hot water, gas, opening the gas valve, and allow the water to flow through the machine, through the unit. So at that point, if we turn the hot tap on, watch what happens. The machine's now realizing that there is water running through, there's sufficient water pressure. The gas valve will then be open because we're in the water position, and it will deliver gas to the burner head. On it comes, and water starts to heat. And believe me, if we do that, hot. We do have a water temperature control, but essentially we leave that in the one position and then control the heat of the water just by a mixer. And that is it. It delivers nice, but now honestly I think the water pump in the motorhome is probably getting to the point where it might need replacing. But we get nice hot water coming to the sink. We have a shower in behind us here again, good supply. So let's deal with switching the unit off. So if we close the hot water supply off, we'll see that the valve realizes the water has stopped flowing. It then closes the gas valve and cuts the supply of gas to the main burner. Pilot light happily remains ticking away there. Now, theoretically, you can leave it in that state, providing the place is well ventilated, and then when you need hot water, touch the tap or your shower and you'll get it. But as I said previously, just for reasons of pure caution, we would always switch the boiler off whenever we're not using it. So to switch the boiler off, now listen, you're going to hear a click. In a moment. There. Now what happened there was because we turned the pilot light off, that obviously stopped heating the thermocoupler. So as the temperature dropped, electrical signal died, and that then causes a gas safety valve. It's a gas cutoff, and that closes the gas supply in there as well. So again, it's just another safety feature of the gas boiler. But there you go. So resurrected from what was quite a disreputable state of repair. Water repaired, and gas valve chambers, etc., all cleaned out. Thermistor or thermocoupler replaced, and we have another very functional and hopefully sustainable facet to our 1988 motorhome. So by way of a little sign off, just a final demonstration of the unit in operation, cover back in place, and from the top, as they say. So onto the igniting position, open the gas valve a little bit and light up our pilot light. Hold it for a moment or two in order to heat up the thermocoupling, and then set the unit into water delivery position. And then if we open the tap, get the water flowing, and hi presto, gas burner operation, cold water going, hot water coming out the tap, tap off, burner stops, pilot light remains, safety valve will close momentarily, and back to off, and that's it until next time. So I hope that's been interesting, and as always, like, subscribe, and thanks for your attention. Bye.